Hello, you gorgeous donuts. Today I want to have a little chat about just like some of the thoughts that go on in my mind, because I know some of you at home possibly might experience some of the things that I experience. Basically, this video is going to include a lot of dark and sensitive themes, so I just want to give you like a trigger warning before I get into talking about what goes on inside of here, because I don't even know most of the time. Before I talk about like how I feel now and my current life situation, I do want to take it back to like around school time, when I feel like the feelings of what I struggle with now kind of develop, and then we're going to circle back to how I'm feeling now, and yeah, that's how it's going to work. So let's just get into it. So I remember when I was very young in school, like year 7, I used to feel really sad, and I never like kind of knew what was going on inside of my mind. I just knew that I kind of like, when other people seemed to just kind of be happy in school, like I always felt like I carried this weight. It was like a weird thing. And I'm just gonna jump in and say this, like I experienced like suicidal thoughts on a daily basis when I was in school. Like this would be genuinely nearly every single day, even if it was like a stupid thing, like, oh well, if that's wrong, I'll just kill myself, like things like that, little comments every single day. I would think these things, and like it would kind of reaffirm my sadness inside of us, and I just thought this was like a normal thing that everybody did. Like you go home and you just think about killing yourself. Like saying it now, it sounds so stupid, but I didn't used to tell anyone, because I was like, oh, obviously other people feel like this. And it wasn't until I actually asked one of my friends in school at the time, like, oh, do you think like this? And he was like, no mate, I think you've got a problem. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm the odd one out here. In school, I used to try and adopt some methods to kind of cope with how I was feeling. I used to feel like, for some reason, a lot of guilt, a lot of sadness. Probably the most overpowering emotion was like loneliness. I used to feel very alone. And one method I used to use, which I'm not proud of, is I used to harm myself. I know, a few people definitely can relate to that. I know it sounds like stupid to say now, but like that was like comforting in like a really weird way. It made us feel like I made myself feel like I deserved it, and it was kind of like the brief period I was doing it, it felt like it felt like nothing else kind of mattered. Like I was focusing in on one thing that was taking us away from my thoughts, kind of. It's hard to kind of process now, because it's hard to justify what I was doing, but I think I just felt so much sadness inside of us that I just wasn't ever thinking logically. I was always thinking emotionally. Other methods I would do when I'd feel sad is I would just sit in the shower for ages. Like I always remember my mom used to go absolutely mental, because probably like the water bill was like skyrocket. Like she was getting invited to like the Northumbria water Christmas party. And also I used to live in a house with like 5 or 6 other people, and there was only one bathroom, so obviously that's probably why she was also, I'm just saying she was fair. But I used to sit in the shower because it was like, I don't even know why, but it offered so much comfort that like it was the one place I felt alone where I was comforted. And I know that sounds so stupid, but I would spend ages in there just kind of thinking about my thoughts, about the suicidal thoughts, even though I had at that time no intention of actually carrying it out. For some reason I felt comfort in just being in that headspace of sadness, which is like a really strange thing to say. The first thing I would always do when I came back from school is I would just go straight in my bedroom, turn off all the lights, close the blinds, curtains, whatever it was, and just sit in a pitch black room. Like that's all I would do every single day. And I just thought this was completely normal, but obviously I was just so sad and feeling so lonely. I felt like I had nobody in the world to kind of, relate to or speak to about how I was feeling. I just felt like I couldn't tell anyone about this, because I would, people would think I was like a freak, and people would think like, why do you like, I felt like I was going to get shut down. I feel like people wouldn't understand. I feel like people would look down on us. Like I just didn't want anybody to know what I was going through. Obviously I've done a video previously on one of the worst things that ever happened. It was the grooming thing, which I definitely think has had such a huge impact on the person I am today and the stuff I struggle with to this day. You know, stuff like that obviously changes you forever, and especially at such a young age, it definitely molds the person you're about to become because you're just so vulnerable at that age. One thing that I used to do, looking back, that I now see as a positive is, it sounds kind of like cringe to people that aren't religious, but I went to a heavily Catholic primary school and a heavily Catholic secondary school, and I used to pray every single night for about 3 or 4 years. I don't even really know why I was doing it, but it was kind of like an avenue for me being alone to kind of speak to someone without speaking to someone, just about how I was feeling, what I was going through. It offered us just so much comfort. I would always say the same prayer to begin with. I'd wish, it sounds so like I feel like crying for my younger self, but I used to just wish that all my family would be safe and healthy. I used to wish that all my friends at school would be safe and healthy, and then I would talk about just all of these emotions I was feeling about stuff that I wanted to do to myself, why I was doing this stuff, and I know nobody is talking back, but when I look back, I think that things like that really just kept us going and felt like someone was listening. And I always remember, I actually, just jumping ahead, leaving school, I always remember I stopped that when one of my friends actually died. He passed away at a young age, and I always remember feeling so angry because I prayed every single night that my friends would be safe and healthy, and then one of my friends, that happens to one of my friends, whereas other people don't pray, and their friends, I felt this tremendous amount of guilt, which is a running theme throughout this video, and anger that this could happen. And I felt like when this happened, my entire mental health just plummeted even further than it was before. When I left school and I was later going to be going to college, in that period of time in between, I really felt the most alone that I'd ever felt in my entire life, because I wasn't seeing people at school, so I wasn't getting any social interaction what I was before, and I didn't really leave school with any close friends. I kind of, in my last year or two of school, I kind of floated. It felt like everybody had people, and it felt like nobody had me, if that makes sense. It felt like I didn't, I know this sounds cringe to say, but it felt like I didn't belong anywhere. It felt like nobody had similar interests, or no, this sounds so pick me, I realised to say it, but I just felt so lonely. Throughout my life, I've always been that kind of person that is a very loner, a lone person. Because of this, I'm very much a person that would see people on Instagram going out, and I'd be why don't I have that kind of thing? Why am I just stuck, just in my room, just in a pitch black room crying? I'm trying not to cry in this video, not like the last one. I used to feel a tremendous amount of guilt that I didn't have friends to do this sort of thing with. I felt guilt because I felt like I was, me as a person was flawed. Why do other people have such amazing friendship groups and I just don't fit into, why I feel I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I don't know if people feel that sort of loneliness that I felt in this moment because of how lonely I was. I feel like I've spent a lot of time alone with my own thoughts, just processing why I am, why my mind thinks the way it does. And one thing that I've realized is my inner monologue is really nasty to myself. I'm really hard on myself. The way I speak to myself is really bad. I would never speak to someone else the way I speak to myself, and I don't understand why this is. I don't understand why I'm so hard on myself. I think it's because of various things that I've been through that I almost kind of talk to myself this way, and I find strange comfort in kind of feeling sad. It's such a weird feeling. I feel like if I was to think happily during this time, it's almost like I was abandoning the thoughts that I've seeked comfort in for so long, if that makes any sense. I'm literally just speaking my thoughts here, so this might make no sense, but it makes sense in my head. I think a lot of it stems from when I'm younger. I don't want to talk about too much in detail about my personal stuff, because you know, I feel like I'm opening up a lot in this video, but some things are just kind of for me. I feel like I still need some stuff for myself that I, you know, haven't quite processed yet. But even things like, I am like the oldest child between two family dynamics. Like my you know, I don't want to get too into this because it's very personal, but you know, my mum and dad aren't together. They weren't together for what I can remember, and like my mum has like a and my stepdad have a great family, like a family dynamic, but they're all like a neutral family, and the same, you know, with on my dad's side. And I always felt like it's like I wasn't oh, okay, not again. Sometimes it's almost like you don't see where you fit in my own inner monologue would say this to us, would be like think negatively and say like, why don't you fit anywhere? Why are you always like the odd one out in a way, in like a negative way? And I realize this probably sounds very you know, I don't want this to come across as like victim-y, because I don't see myself as a victim, but what I'm just trying to explain is this is the way my inner monologue tries to make me feel for some sort of reason. And over the years, it's made me really not be able to enjoy things. Like a lot of the times when something sad happens, like I won't really feel anything, or if something amazing happens, I won't really feel anything, because I'm so scared of feeling those really overwhelming negative emotions. So it's almost like at one point in my life, I chose to just feel nothing, and I feel like that's a mechanism I chose to kind of protect myself, because I didn't want I was scared of feeling the up and down emotions of life. And I'm going to talk about my current mindset later in this video and how I'm feeling to this day. But one thing that I've always been scared of is being alone with my thoughts. And I know that sounds really weird, because literally, like, you come into this world alone and you leave alone. You should be the most comfortable with like the person up here. It's like weird. It's like as soon as I spend like a period of time, you know, like a couple of days, etc., by myself, it's like these thoughts start coming back. It's like almost like overwhelming. Like it's like I can sense the tides coming. You know, I don't know if like with girls, you know, you sense your periods coming. It's like I've got a period in me brain. I can sense it coming, but except I'm just bleeding out my eyes. I'm just crying. What did I just say? I've got no idea. And I always remember it got to this point where I just couldn't really take I just couldn't really take it anymore. The feelings that I was feeling, it got so overwhelming for us that I just felt like I had to tell someone. I had to release at this point. Like, it's like I almost couldn't take any more of what was going on inside. And this was like a last resort. Like, even if you know me now, like if you know me personally, you know I don't really talk about how I feel. I just kind of bottle it inside. Like, for me to talk about stuff, it really takes a hell of a lot, because I just feel like I'm a burden on people. But I really needed to at this point. And I remember I picked someone that you know, I thought I could, I thought they would at least be able to hear us out. Maybe they wouldn't understand, but you know, I just felt like this person was a safe space. And I always remember opening up to them about just some of the things that I was feeling. Not telling them exactly what I was going through, but just how I was feeling. And I'll never forget that. I always remember getting kind of shut down, kind of told like to man up in a way, like to disregard how I'm feeling. Like I'd experienced this for like, you know, like for like years leading up to this point, and this took us a hell of a lot to muster the courage to tell someone, and for that almost felt like thrown back in my face a little bit. It made us never want to open up to anyone ever again, and for years after that I never told anyone until I started YouTube about the stuff that I was going through, because I just felt like if I can't tell this person I picked, then who the hell else is going to understand? After this moment, and obviously I'm a bit older at this point, you know, one thing that I always have used to numb how I'm feeling is alcohol. Now, I know a lot of people do this, and a lot of people struggle with this. It's literally a disease. And when I was going out with friends, and I was going on nights out and having fun whilst drinking and masking the pain, I didn't really think of it as that deep then, because I'm also having fun with my friends. It's like an excuse to go out. But when it started to really play on us and really become a problem is when I was alone, and when I'm alone with my thoughts. When you're in that moment, like loneliness, all you want to do is numb. You're not thinking about you know, tomorrow. You're not thinking about next week. You're not thinking about 5 years. You're just thinking about how right now can I just stop this. And with alcohol, with me, I don't want to say it helped because I don't want other people to do this, but it numbed for a temporary amount of time how I was feeling. It obviously doesn't solve it. It just takes it away for a brief moment of time and gives us like a little bit of just relaxation in a way. However, obviously this only numbs it, so this just became like a never-ending cycle for me. And obviously, like, the more consistently you drink, the more you've got to drink to get to the point where it numbs. And it got to the point, like, there was a time a couple of years ago, I remember we were going round to my mate's house and we were all just drinking in the house, and like a couple of lads had beers, ciders, etc. And I brought like a full bottle of gin. And I know that probably doesn't seem too serious, but it's because I would need that to just make us stop feeling how I was feeling. I wasn't going and drinking like recreationally. I was drinking because I had to. Like, I was relying on it. There's been moments in my life where the first thing I do when I wake up is I drink alcohol. And that's just when I'm really going through it. And it makes you feel like weak. Because I feel like I'm a mentally strong person. Like, I feel like I'm really good at, like, if I have any challenges in my life or things that happen, I feel like I can move forward from them. But it's almost like this inner monologue's the one thing that it's hard to escape, because it's literally in your head. You can't, if there's something bad happens in your life, you can justify it and why it happened, etc. You can't. It's so much harder to justify your own thoughts because you can't see them. And I think a lot of the reason as well why I used to drink was I felt tremendous guilt for feeling down. Like, I used to think like some people have it so much worse than me. Like, again, it would feed into me my inner monologue, telling myself that I'm weak, because why should I feel this way when someone else has got it 10 times worse? And I mentioned this in my previous video where I talk about the grooming situation. That I honestly believe is one of the biggest reasons why people don't speak out about how they're feeling, and why suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 40, I believe it is, because people feel guilty for feeling this way. They feel like they shouldn't feel like this way, and I'm so guilty of feeling that guilt. It's just so strange, because I remember when I started YouTube, I got bullied so much for starting YouTube. Like, people give me so much shit. Yeah, I was able to just deal with that. Like, it wasn't very nice. Like, yeah, I cried, etc. But I was able to move past it. But I didn't need to like drink to cope with that. Whereas when it's actual mental health, that's where it's just so difficult to kind of, think logically, because you're constantly thinking emotionally. I always remember the first time that I was able to process how I was feeling was when I discovered YouTube in college. And I always remember the YouTuber Joe Weller uploaded a video. I can't remember the title of it, but he was basically talking about his depression. And I'd never really heard that word before. Like, I'd heard it, but I didn't really understand what it really meant, and that I was possibly going through this. And I always remember him talking about just how he was feeling, and just really just resonating with it, and being like, this is the first time in my entire life that I've ever felt like seen, like not felt like a freak, like felt like wait, am I actually, like, is this okay that I'm like thinking this on a daily basis? I always remember after watching that video, it was my first step into researching about the terms surrounding about what I was feeling. And it was really the first step for me to kind of, get a grip on how I was feeling, and try to take back a little bit control, and not let these emotions kind of stop us leaving the house and stop us doing things when I get invited to places. Like, the amount of things that I've missed because of my anxiety, or because I'm feeling sad and I just can't muster the energy to even get out of bed. Like, this was really the first step for me to understand all of this. And just a side note, what was actually really weird for me was when I opened up about the previous situation I did, Joe actually commented on that video, which is like a full circle moment for me. And it made me think that hopefully people who watched that video and watch this video will maybe pick up something, like how I picked up something from that video. Or if you haven't, then you've just wasted your entire time watching this. Apologies for that. It's 15 minutes or however long you're not getting back. And after watching that video, it also made us look into starting YouTube. And since I've started doing this job, like, I can't put into words how much this job has helped me. Like, this job has genuinely saved me and give me like a purpose. Like, I feel like that's the one thing that people struggle with, is purpose. Like, so many people, and I was like this for so long, where you just feel like you've got no purpose. It feels like you're not going anywhere. It feels like nobody cares. Like, why are you even here? It feels like nobody has you and you have nobody. Like, that it all boils down to purpose. And that's the one thing with this job, is it's just give us a sense of matter, like, I feel seen. And I don't even think it's because the videos get views. I just think it's because, like, for so long I was such a shy kid, and I used to just go in the background, and I used to just try and make it through every day. And now I feel like I'm actually expressing myself for, like, the first time in my entire life. And just the fact that, like, like, a community of people join, and, like, also can, like, talk about what you're doing. And honestly, this is, like, an absolute dream for me. Like, this job, I wouldn't swap it. Like, you could literally be like, you can be a Premier League footballer, and I'd be like, nah, if I can't do YouTube, then nah. Like, genuinely, this is, like, I feel so appreciative that somehow I've managed to stumble into doing this. And if you followed me over the years, you will know, like, I've talked about these kind of emotions that I feel inside. I remember I actually done this really cringe short film. Like, looking back at it now, I wouldn't be able to watch it because it's me. But I remember making that at a time where I was really on the edge of I really needed to tell someone, but obviously from previous experience, I didn't want to tell a human, even though I decided to make a short film and show it to loads of humans. But it was different because I didn't actually have to do it face to face. And I remember that really helping us out at the time, even how cringe it might have been. And just speaking on current day, one of the most life-changing things that happened to me was when I met my girlfriend Chloe. Because Chloe, like, I don't tell her this enough, but, like, she honestly, like, like, she was, like, she was one of the first people that understood what I was going through, because she might have been through, similar things. I don't want to kind of speak for her, because I know she's not really, like, an online person. She doesn't really want her stuff out there. Being with her was, like, the first time, like, I felt like I wasn't alone. Like, it was almost like if I was feeling bad, like, there was someone there who, like, would listen, and, wasn't wanting anything in return, just wanting to be there for you, and vice versa. And also my friends that I have now, like, I have a great friendship group, and I've finally got people that I just love hanging out with. And even when I'm alone now, I do get feelings, like, over the last couple of days I've been feeling just a little bit down, but they're so much less common than what they were. And as of now, I don't get suicidal thoughts like what I used to have, nowhere near as intense. And I honestly believe that's because of me being able to process my emotions with Chloe and talk to them with Chloe whenever I've needed to, and really bonding over the stuff we've been through together. And also getting my dog, like, if I kill myself, like, what is me dog can't feed, like, that's give us another purpose, the bastard. God. But I remember watching Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, and when he mentions in that, the character saying the dog is given purpose, this is how I feel with my dog, because he's given us a routine. Like, I have to be up early, I have to take the dog for walk. Like, it's forced us to actually get up out of bed, because I feel like without my dog, maybe I would have a lot more dark days. Honestly, like, I spend every hour of the day with my dog, because obviously I work from home. And that little bundle of, like, joy has honestly, like, changed my life forever as well. I love him so much. Like, I actually feel things now. Like, I feel happiness, and I also feel sadness, but I actually feel stuff. And for so long, I just, like, blocked out everything how I felt because I was scared to feel it, whereas now I just don't feel scared. Like, now I'm just open to feeling it. Even when I'm sad, I kind of like it in a way, because at least I'm feeling something, if that makes any sense. And I just want to let you know that whenever I record, that is when I'm at my happiest, and I wouldn't be recording if I wasn't in a good place. Of course, some days I probably feel, like, better than others, but I never have to like pretend on camera, which is like such a big thing for me, because in my early days, a lot of times I used to have to pretend to be happy. One thing that I do really need to work on still is my drinking when I'm sad, because that is still a method that I use, and I'm still trying to overcome that. But because I don't feel so overwhelmed all the time, it feels like this is something that I could manage. I definitely think one time in the future I would like to get some professional help for it. That's definitely one thing I need to do, and take the steps to do that, because I feel like that'll really just kind of give us some I feel like that would just really help us out. And I feel like, I don't know if I've rambled in this video, or I don't know if any of this even made any sense, because I've literally just been inside my own head for the last however long this recording is. But I do want to end this by just saying thank you so much for always, just engaging with what I do. Even when I opened up the last time, like, the comments were just so nice and so just empathetic, and like, even if you're a silent viewer, it means so much to us that you take the time out of your day to watch me when you could be doing anything else. And if you are one person that even one thing in this video you related to, just know that, like, me when I was 11, 10, all the way to 18, 20, I never ever at one of those points thought that I would get to a point now where, like, you begin to feel like okay at times. What I'm trying to say is, like, just keep going, because genuinely, like, you never know what's around the corner, and happiness will come eventually if you just keep going. I hope that doesn't sound cringe. I get quite a few messages, and I think it's because I've got quite a depressive nature, and people probably look at him and go, yeah, he goes through some shit. But I know there's people who watches who feel shit. Like, they feel shit in general, and that's the reason that I wanted to do this video. So I hope you've took something. I know I'm rambling now, but again, thank you so much for just being there for us. And yeah, yeah.